Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Next Level Fear Show, where today we'll be drawing the rest of this money, hopefully. I'll show you what it's looking like. There it is. I started the 100 symbol, the lettering, and I'm going to work my way up, obviously, towards the middle where we get the center of the eagle, and hopefully I can get to the rubber band portion. So at least finish like half of this area right here, you know? So yeah, I think it's coming out fantastic so far, you know. The paper is definitely looking ripped. You know, after all that's said and done, after all the details, I go back and then we'll, add all the fine details to bring it to that like hyper realistic state. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to really capture it and bring it to life. I plan on, framing every single image that I do, and I plan on doing something really special down here in the studio where I could hang up all the drawings. Hopefully I can actually frame them in glass. Like, if there's a way where I can turn these prints into glass prints, that would be fantastic. You know, that would mean that I would have to ship them out to a company. I haven't really, done any research yet. I'm not sure if that's possible, but that's the goal, right? If I can't do that, so be it. I'll just, put it in a regular frame and frame it and, redo the studio, because what I'd like to do is get rid of the cyclorama where I shoot my photography and then just create something fantastic, like a futuristic art studio, and then also have that as a space where, if I want to do a podcast about a specific subject, whether it be politics, relationships, family, that sort of thing, then, that would be obviously a plus to have, that setup right there. So it's going to take some time. I probably anticipate being done with it, I would say, the end of this year. So expect that, man. But for now, we're going to rock with this portion of the studio with the Next Level Fear sign behind me and my built-ins and all that. We're going to rock with that, right? So I don't know if you guys, before I start, you know what? Let me just start and I'll talk to you guys and BS. And those that catch the live afterwards, whether you agree or disagree, I'd love to hear your comments, all right? So I'm watching the news today. And of course, everything is just about Trump and what he's doing with the migrants and, deporting everybody. He's the deporter in chief. And so I saw on the news today how there were people protesting with Mexican flags in California. Now, I don't see how that's possible, okay? Like, how do you you live in America, but you're protesting, well, you want to live in America, but you're protesting with an American flag, which doesn't make any sense to me, guys. Because you want to escape and leave your country to come live in the United States. So shouldn't you be protesting with an American flag? If you want to be in this country, like, shouldn't that be the way to go? To have an American flag saying that you want to be in the United States? Please don't deport us. For those of us that are good people and not coming in with criminal records, shouldn't you have an American flag, not a Mexican flag? It doesn't make any sense. You're escaping Mexico. You fled Mexico or wherever you fled to start a new life in America, but you want to rock your flag. That's the kind of shit like, that's the kind of stuff I just don't understand. Like, you fled your country, you walked for miles, hundreds of miles, right? And you're protesting because you don't want to go back to Mexico, but you're carrying a Mexican flag. You guys got to make sense. Like, what is it? What are you trying to do here? So I found that to be extremely puzzling and hilarious all at the same time. I don't know who put you up to this. I don't know if the shiesty immigration lawyers that are out there taking all your money, knowing that there's nothing they can do for you at this moment, at this present time. I don't know if it's their idea, along with some of these crooked activists looking to get your money. That's the wrong message. Standing out here in the United States, protesting that you want to stay in this country, but you have a Mexican flag, is asinine. And it makes no damn sense. The shit that we see on the news is wild. It really is, man. We're about to see some amazing shit. We really are, man. We're about to see some amazing stuff happening in this country. It's pretty incredible. If you want to stay in this country, you got to represent with the American flag. Go out there and protest how much you love America and how you want to stay here and how you're not a criminal and you don't associate with these criminals, and give you a chance and you're willing to go through the proper channels. But you just took advantage of the fact that everyone was coming through the border illegally, so you took your chances, but you really want to stay and you really want to make a living out here. And, you want to raise your kids out here. And this is the place where you want to be. You want to be an American. Not doing it the way you guys are doing it. You guys are, it just doesn't make sense, man. You guys are not behaving well, man. Like, if I was your leader, I would not, I would have been like, what are you guys doing? Well, why do you have the Mexican flag out? No, sorry. But yeah, that was one thing that made me chuckle today. And the other thing that kind of made me chuckle also today is I did a video a while back on why I don't believe that men should not, and this is a totally different topic here. This will go to like dating and relationships and that sort of thing. But I did a video and it was regarding should men, or something to the effect that men should stop asking women what they bring to the table. And I was watching a podcast today, and that subject was brought up as well. The podcast was about men who basically pander to women. And I think I may want to change my perspective on why, not totally, because I don't think that men should ask women what they bring to the table. I think a man already knows. A man should already know what a woman brings to the table. I mean, you already know what you want or what type of woman you want. You know, it's not like, it's not like I have to tell you when you're out there looking for a wife. That's really not a question that we should be asking. Honestly, that's like a question I would say that started probably about 20 years ago. Because when I was a young teen and a young man, that question never came out of my mouth. Like, what do you bring to the table? Like, I never in my life dated a chick, right? And that was like one of the questions that I asked. That doesn't make any sense. I don't see why that's a thing. I mean, I do see why it's a thing today, but I think I think there has to be some context behind it. And I think women have to understand that when men ask, what do you bring to the table today? I don't think they're necessarily speaking from a financial place. That's not what it is. I would hope that that's not what a man is speaking from, like financially. I would say that he's speaking more along the lines of how many men you've been with, how many kids do you come with, you know, you out here on OnlyFans, I think it's more of a sexual, I guess, question without asking it direct. Like, how many partners have you been with? Even though that was a question that we would ask back in the day, because back in the 90s, like, HIV and AIDS was a serious thing and still is today, but it was super serious back then, right? So, I mean, we would kind of inquire, like, so how many dudes you been with, And if it was like more than 5, forget about it. Or if I knew that it was more than 5 dudes that you've been with, or if I knew that you were sleeping with one of my friends, all those things were a no-no. So I never even had to ask, like, a woman a young girl or whatever, what they brought to the table. That's just ridiculous. And so I think today, again, I think when men ask that, or when young men ask that, it's because there's a lot of women that today that are not like the women of yesterday. The old-fashioned value woman today doesn't really exist. And so I think when a man does ask that question, I think that's where it comes from. Like, how many partners you've been with? Are you going to be loyal to me? Can I trust you? Are you argumentative? All those questions, like, I think that's the foundation of what you bring to the table, what that means. It has nothing to do with money. And I would hope that it doesn't have anything to do with money, because if it does, then I would say that's probably not the guy that you want to be with. Yeah. How's that $100 bill looking? It's looking pretty sexy, if I may say myself. Yep. All right, on to the letters, or to the serial numbers. Let's see if we can get to that. All right, so this is about another, yeah. Why do I always look at the screen as if I can see without my glasses? Makes no sense. 11 and a half to 13 and a half. That's 2-inch, basically a 2-inch drop. So from here about right. Start of the A. And then the end of the A should be here. How many inches? So from 5, 3/4 of an inch. We want to do from here to here. All right. Yeah, so that's not like that was never a question that we asked back in the day. Late 80s, early 90s. Absolutely not. What you bring to the table. That's wild. And I'm sure there's a lot of men that, if you're just watching the video, you probably might be like, well, what's wrong with asking that question? Women are crazy today. Yeah, they are. But I think it's how you, I don't know, maybe it's where it comes from. Where does it come from? Like, what's the purpose of asking that question? If you're a young man today, what would be the purpose? What do you bring to the table? Like, if I got to ask that question, then I shouldn't be with that woman. If I have to ask what that woman brings to the table, then I shouldn't be with her. Because those questions, before you even ask that, right? Because to me, that's like you're just starting beef from the jump. Like if you ask a girl that today, that's kind of like an insult, Like if you're going out and you're dating a woman and you know she's got 4 kids from 3 different baby moms or 4 different baby moms, then you should already know that that's not the one for you. She can't bring nothing to you but a headache. She's got 4 kids from 4 different baby moms. Why are you asking that question other than to insult her? She can't bring anything but bills. Bills and her hungry ass, disrespectful kids. That's all she could bring. Yep. Her hungry, disrespectful children. And that's honestly, that's if you, I don't see why any young man with a great job, with his head on his shoulders, has no kids, he's out there trying to make something of himself, would consider going into a relationship like that. But there's people that do. And for those that do, God bless you. It is what it is. But for those that know, like, that's not even the question we have to ask, man, because we're not even entertaining you. We're not going to entertain you. So that was one of the podcasts that I had seen today. And I was like, damn, why do men say that? Like, why do men? I don't know. That's just weird. It's a weird question. It's a weird question. I'll do the shading of that later. Still have to do the triangles here. Damn. What the shit? California, man. California is just crazy. People are nuts. Straight nuts. Oh yeah. It's coming together. Wait till I start putting the shading and all that stuff in there. Look at that rip. That rip looks nuts. Right there. when I was a teenager, I could never draw like this. Like, well, I never had the patience because I was too busy out gallivanting instead of going to school. But I wonder if I would have put this much focus and attention to my schoolwork and studies if I probably would have been an artist, an established artist today. God only knows. God chose the path for me. He chose the right path. I'm not complaining. I tell this story all the time. I was in high school, when I was in junior high school, and I was so into drawing. I remember that my art teacher, her name was Miss Volpe. I don't know if she's still alive today because she was pretty old when I was in the sixth and the seventh grade. She was old back then, so God rest her soul. But her name was Miss Volpe, and she believed in me. And I remember she said, "You have a gift, and I think that you should apply for the High School of Art and Design." And I was like, "All right, I'll apply." And I remember when I received the letter at the end of the 8th grade, and I received the letter in the mail, I was like so excited that I was accepted to that school because I had applied for 3 additional schools: fashion industries. I applied for LaGuardia, and then High School of Art and Design. And fashion industries, it was a weird, that was a weird place. Kind of glad I didn't make it, but I didn't get accepted to fashion industries. I guess maybe my portfolio was a little bit more on the artistic side and not so much on the fashion side. But although I loved fashion back then, yeah, I didn't make the cut. And then LaGuardia was kind of like a all-around school, I guess, like a performing arts type of school. It had a little bit of everything, but it really didn't. The focal point wasn't art, and the type of art that I drew was like real still life and that sort of thing. People, kind of like what I'm doing right now. And so LaGuardia didn't accept me. And then Art and Design accepted me. And it was great. It was the first time that I had like applied for something in my life, and I got accepted, and I was happy. I was ecstatic. the going to school in Manhattan, and living in Brooklyn at the time, living in Flatbush, Brooklyn, back in the '80s, was a bit of culture shock to me as well, because I had never seen Manhattan. I've never, I was, how old was I? 14? Yeah, 15 years old, so 15 years old, taking the D train to Atlantic Avenue, and then jumping on the 4 train all the way to 57th Street. What was it? 59th Street? 59th Street. And ultimately, experiencing an entirely different world. Like, it was amazing. And it was like I was away from the element, because back then Flatbush was nuts. Flatbush was out of freaking control. And if I wasn't playing baseball at the time, then I was in the house drawing. My grandmother really tried to keep me away from the element. And even though I was surrounded by it, it was very difficult. It was very difficult to not be consumed by the element. I remember when breakdancing was a thing. I was probably 12, 13 years old. My best friend at the time, we formed this group called HBO. And it stood for Homeboys Only. So, it was nuts. Those were the days, man. That's when hip hop was insane. Hip hop was just coming out. And one of the guys, one of the rappers, the producer of Dana Dane, a lot of you young kids won't even know who that is, but for the older folks, you guys will know who that is. Dana Dane, his producer lived like right in my building. So every now and then I'll see this dude pull up and he'd have these huge gold rope chains. And I'd be like, damn, what is that? At the time, I didn't even know what it was. I was like, yo, this is crazy. Dude is rocking a freaking truck jewelry. That's what they used to call it back then. Truck jewelry. Those are the days. So anyway, going back to art and design, there was this teacher. I forget her name, but it was an illustration class that I had. Intro to illustration. And this teacher always like kept it real with me, She was always honest. And I remember her telling me one time, she said, Radimus, this is not the field you want to try to succeed in. It's very difficult. And she said, people like you, it's very difficult for people like you to succeed in this world of art. Now, at the time, I didn't know what she was talking about at the time. I just thought she was just being real, and I remember going back home and telling my grandmother what she said. My grandmother kind of got pissed off because she thought that she was being, I guess, racist. Like, who is she to tell you that you can't do something, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that's how the teacher meant it. I understood what she meant by that today. It's equivalent to like when I see individuals take up photography as a degree, like come on. Like really? This is what you're doing? You're gonna take up photography as a degree? You get your master's in photography? Like, come on. No. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. So I understood what she meant by that. And I took her advice. I was like, all right, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. It's not meant for me. Not meant for, people like me. And I think what she meant by people like me is that I have no pull. I had no pull. I still have no pull to this day. And I think that's what she meant. It's like you got to know people. It's who you know in this field that can bring you to the top of the mountain. You don't even have to be dope. You know what I mean? Like you could be a Biden's son and be able to sell your shit for $1 million. Shit. Sell all your shit, because that's what it is. I've seen his work. It's shit. But because of who he is, I guess that gives him the right to sell it for $1 million plus, right? Each painting or picture or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, I thought that I took what she said and I wasn't bothered by it. I understood what the plan was, what the message was. And I said, all right, not a problem. I need to find something else to do. Now, could I have made it? I guess if my heart was in it, at the time, if my heart and my mind wasn't distracted by worldly things, then yeah, maybe I could have done something. Who knows? And so I became a cop. Didn't even want to be a cop at the time either. Like, at the time, I didn't want to be a police officer. I was like, nah, this job is crazy. And I think it was just more of, more along the lines that it was cool. It was a cool job. There was a lot of like TV shows, back then, hyping up police, all these FBI and these detective shows. And I was like, wow, that seems pretty interesting. Maybe I can do that. It's cool. I did it for the girls at first. I was like, yeah, I'll wear a uniform, bag all these women. At the time, that's what my frame of mind was. And thank God, honestly, thank God I did it. Why? Because I was able to retire at an early age in life with a really good pension. And I was able to, capitalize off of that by spending all of that time with my family, doing something that most men can't do, you know, 'cause most men have to work until they're 62 plus. So for me, that was like a no brainer. I was like, oh yeah, I'm all in it. And I did. I retired when I was 41. Never went back to work. Didn't have to. As long as you're good with your money, you learn how to invest it, budget it, do all that good stuff, you'll be fine. Yeah, but I didn't take, what she said, my art teacher at the time. I didn't take what she said personal at all. In the beginning, like I said, in the beginning, yeah, I was like, she kind of like burst my bubble, like, damn, so what do I do now? I just went to college, got my degree, and then became a cop. But going to school in Manhattan at the time, man, was so dope. Like I learned how to dress just by being in Manhattan, being around talented, eclectic kids. I learned how to I learned how to talk, like, mingle, and I just learned how to do so many positive things just by being in the city. And but it was also a place where, if you don't if you're not careful, you'll get caught up, and you'll find yourself going out to nightclubs, which we did. We went out to nightclubs. Everyone, what we were doing back then, back in the '90s, we were going to the Red Zone on Wednesday when the Red Zone was popping. I was when house music was really dope back then. House music was a shit. Uh, so it would be the Red Zone, and then years later, eventually, we would turn into the Limelight. And then after the Limelight, it would be places like the Tunnel. And although hip hop was around, hip hop wasn't really as popping as it obviously as it is today. Uh, Back in the late '80s, early '90s, it wasn't like it was. Hip hop it was around, but house music was shit. So we was in a club on school nights, sneaking into the red zone with fake ID, just going there to dance. That's all we would do, just go there to dance. That's crazy, come to think about it. And the main thing for us was like getting in the circle, you know, learning how to dance and get in the circle. You know, bag some chicks here and there, but it was more about just dancing. Yeah, but being you know, going to school in the city, what an adventure. We would cut out of school every single day and and go to places like South Street Seaport just to hang out. Failing all the classes. What a mess. What a mess. Cutting out of school every single day. And all we cared about was what we were wearing. Oh, what do you have on? Oh, I got this dope Banana Republic shirt because Banana Republic used to be popping back in the day, you know? Or I got this shirt, I got this Benetton shirt. United Colors of Benetton. Some of y'all don't even know what Benetton is. That's the crazy part. You guys don't even know what Benetton was back in the day. Or Aka Joe, you know, or places like Unique in the Village on H Street. Places like Astor Place. You would go and you would get your hair cut. Like it was a party every night. Every single night it was a party. It was amazing. Like during that time, I'm not gonna lie, during that time, wow, what an amazing adventure. For real. What an amazing adventure. One of the main reasons why I dropped out of high school. Never finished. Wound up going to a night school, a night high school, and wound up getting my regular diploma, and and from there just went straight to college, and then from college, you know, went to college, and then just became a cop afterwards. That's when life sucked. I remember when I became a cop. The next day, not the next day, I would say probably 3 months into me being a police officer, I wanted to quit. Okay, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. Let me get this. I'm just sitting back thinking about all the all these excellent, excellent freaking memories that I had back when I was growing up, man. I even did graffiti for a little bit. Honestly, I never had the patience for graffiti. Just just wasn't really into it. Like I was just not to mention I never wanted to get caught because my grandmother would freaking kick my butt. But when I did do graffiti, I just wanted to, write my name, tag my name and stuff. Yeah, if any of you that are watching the stream did not live in New York City in the late 80s, early 90s, you missed out on a amazing period in life. Amazing period in life. That's all I got to say. Like amazing, amazing. Like my generation, I'll be the first one to say it. I'll argue this point until I'm dead. But my generation was were the creators of every style, every dance that you guys are doing today. Nothing that you guys are doing today is original, creative, or didn't steal it from our generation. Nothing. Not one thing, with the exception of technology. That's it. But there wasn't one thing that you guys have created that I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty dope. Not one thing. Everything you guys do is copied from what we used to do back in the 80s and 90s. The only thing I will say, and I will agree with, is that you guys definitely, the younger population definitely has made more money than we did, because we were some broke freaking kids. We were broke teenagers back in the day, man. Broke. Today, you guys know how to get money. I find that crazy. I had a job when I was 15 years old. No, actually 14. I had a job when I was 14 years old, drawing stained glass, working for a stained glass shop in Brooklyn, drawing their patterns, blueprints for churches, that sort of thing. I had a lot of jobs. I worked for Foot Locker, Athlete's Foot, clothing stores, all kinds of jobs. I worked for Banana Republic. Good times. Let's see how this is looking. Oh, yeah. That's looking crazy. You see that rubber band? Absolutely. It's a work in progress. It is a work in progress. All jokes aside, though, like honestly, with the image here, like I could have gotten. I think I could have done a little bit better. Just off of the base. We'll see as time goes on what it looks like, but I mean, it's coming out. It's coming out pretty damn good, but I think I could have done a tad bit better. Like I'm still not done with here, just certain things, just not done with yet. Still got to darken up some of the stuff that's down here. Let's go ahead and let's try to do that right now. Oh my God, that noise is so annoying. Yes, sir. That is looking pretty damn dope. Which, how much time do we? Yep, we are at 1 hour and 9 minutes. It is time for me to wrap this up for today. I like streaming for about an hour. An hour a day, maybe an hour and a half. I don't want to go too long, bore everybody out, but yeah, I like it. It looks pretty damn good. Okay. All right, everybody. So I appreciate you guys watching. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed that this stream. I will see you back here tomorrow, 6:30-ish, 6:45-ish, somewhere around there. I got a little caught up today. That's why I was a little late, but I try to keep it at 6:30, from 6:30 to 7:30, maybe from 6:30 to 8 in that time frame. So I appreciate you guys watching, liking the video. Thank you very much, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, we're going to finish up that money. The bottom lip is going to be super simple, easy, and then we're going to go back and we're going to really focus on the detail of the entire image and really bring this thing to life, man. Really make it look dope. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again for watching.